everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of the College Football Tailgate. As always, it is me, XFL Jim. As always, I am joined by...
I love the Jim Boogie so much.
It's a good boogie. It's a real good boogie. As always, I'm joined by the man himself. It is Chase Lupine Fiasco Sessoms, a.k.a. the Wolf of Oakland. Shout out NASCAR in the chat. Today, Chase, we'll be joined by Uncle Rico later. Don't worry, we're holding it down in the fort for now. Today, we are previewing a very special conference. It is the last of the group of five, Chase. We have the AAC, the American Athletic Conference, ahead of us.
Yeah, it's a fun conference too. It's got a few teams that we are always high on and always like excited to follow. Like for me, North Texas; for you, UTSA; for both of us, Tulane. It's a fun conference. I think it's probably getting to where it rivals the Mountain Best in the Sun Belt for funness.
I think so too, and I think a lot of that has to do with the teams that left, creating a lot of parity and a lot of room for these other teams. Like, obviously, a lot of people think Memphis should have taken the spot of UCF or whatever, because they were kind of even back and forth, doing a lot back in the day, but
right,
they haven't. This has been a very competitive, fun conference.
Yeah, it has. And I know that this conference is probably glad to see, definitely glad to see UCF move on to the Big 12 like they did. There's a lot of questions, though, like for a lot of these teams that we'll definitely get into. But like UTSA is going to have like a new quarterback for the first time in like what feels like 7 to 9 years.
I was going to say, Chase, he was there for 8 years.
Oh, yeah, totally.
He was there for 8 fucking years.
That's absurd. Those people are usually called doctors.
That is crazy. Jeff chiming in. Cherry Limeade Ghost, the drink of Monday mornings. Oh, dude. Shout out Voz forever.
Dude, the Cherry Limeade is good. I'll tell you what. You've had the Swedish Fish, right?
I've had the Swedish Fish. I do the Cherry Limeade all the time. I really also like the orange creamsicle.
Dude, the Swedish Fish they just liquefied some Swedish fish.
It's actually insane. Amazing. It is
insane. Whatever Ghost is doing to make their flavors, amazing.
It's magical. Chase, are you ready to get into this?
Absolutely not, but we're going to do it anyway.
We're going to do it as we do every single time. Alphabetical order. Again, every conference so far, aside from the, what was it? Was it the Mountain West? I forget which conference we did that actually kept divisions. But every conference has basically gotten rid of divisions. The AAC is no different. Chase, we are starting with the new one to the league. Actually joining a league. It is Army, the Army Black Knights. Plus 2,200 to win the conference. Win total is set at 6 over at DraftKings. Plus 105 on the over. Minus 135 on the under. This team is interesting. They returned 4 starters on offense, 3 on defense. I have in my notes here, they're going back to the option. If you remember watching like Army and hearing about Army preseason last year, they were trying to change their offensive philosophy. Well, guess what? They abandoned that shit halfway through the season. Go back to the option. It works. They kind of have a decent end of the season last year, and now we're back to the option.
Yeah, and you mentioned only 4 players returning on offense, but there's one main person that if he's returned on offense, then this offense is capable of beating any team. Yeah, I said it. They're capable of beating any team, and that's Bryson Daly. Their quarterback, Bryson Daly. How many times last year did we watch him single-handedly fuck games up?
Dude, you're so right. He is otherworldly when he needs to be.
If you shut him down, they're screwed. The entire offense runs through Bryson Daly and him running the option and everything. But like, dude, I can't. It's hard to predict what games he's going to get through and just start fucking shit up.
I also have him
I live in 16 bars.
He is the offense, and also I trust and like what Army's been doing at defense. So we apologize, folks. You're not getting the incredible Uncle Rico thesis statements that you're used to, perhaps. But me and Chase have done our own research, and you know what?
Ish.
It's fair. We've come to a little bit different conclusions. The other thing I like about this Army team this year, I kind of dig their schedule, dude. Obviously, you have the other service academies. I actually don't hate it. They have, so they play Notre Dame, but guess they don't play Memphis.
How many teams on this schedule do you feel like you know exactly what they are, other than like Notre Dame and...
So, okay, if I'm saying I know exactly what they are, I know what Notre Dame is, and I know what Temple is, and they're on opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is, like, I'll be honest, I have no idea how good Rice is going to be. I have no idea how good Temple is going to be. I have no idea how good Tulsa is going to be.
ECU!
I keep hearing that ECU is the most improved team in the country.
According to Phil Steele, obviously according to Colby.
Yeah. And you don't know what you're going to get out of North Texas. We don't know what we're going to get out of UTSA. Navy, don't we have a new head coach for Navy?
New head coach for Navy. Again, we don't know what we're going to get out of Navy. We already talked about it. We're Air Force is losing a ton.
Yeah, it feels like this Army team could either win 2 games or they could win 9 games.
Exactly. Anything is on the table.
Yeah.
So let's go through this schedule, Chase. To start off the season, they get Lehigh at home, and then they head to Florida Atlantic.
Not the airport, the seaport, right?
The seaport, Florida. Yes, not the airport.
So they beat Lehigh. I'm gonna give them the L at Florida Atlantic and Boca Raton.
So what you were saying earlier is also reflected. So what I like to do when I'm going through, I went through their schedule in the Athlon stuff. It's nice little actual paper, not that usual magazine stuff, so I could write W or L. I have so many question marks for this Army schedule where I'm just like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have them 2-0 though. I'm gonna have them 2-0. Off of the bye, they get Rice at home, then they're at Temple, at Tulsa, UAB at home, ECU at home.
I'm going to say they beat Rice. That gives them 2. And then they split Temple and Tulsa. They lose to either Temple or Tulsa, and they beat either Temple or Tulsa. So that puts them at 3 wins for me. I'll give them the win against UAB, which puts them at 4.
I had them losing to Rice off the bye, and then turning around and beating Temple and Tulsa and UAB, and then losing to ECU.
Yeah, I've got them losing to ECU also.
Off of their next bye, it's Air Force, and then at North Texas.
I'm going to be honest. I think after about UAB, they might not have another win on the schedule, or they could win 5.
I'm going to say this, after UAB, the only one I have them beating is Navy.
I've got them sitting at 4 and 8.
I have them. 3, 4, 5. I got them at 6 and 6. I lean closer to 7 because I could see them beating North Texas, and honestly, I could still see them beating Air Force.
Here's the deal. I don't know what is going to happen with this team. They could win. If they win a bunch of games, that's going to be fun. That'll be a fun season for Army. But I've found that it's lucrative to bet against fun things happening, and that's what I'm going to do. This is actually going to be one of my plays. I can get under 5.5 on Bet Online at plus 110, and I'm going to take that.
I'm taking over 6 at plus 105 already.
Why not?
Let's do it. We don't know. We don't know with this team. You know what team we do know with? And I feel like they're coming in disrespected. It is the Charlotte 49ers, led by Biff Poggi. Honestly, can we call him friend of the show? We can call Biff friend of the show, right?
I think so. And can we say that they're disrespected coming in when you've literally been respecting him for the last 8 weeks in a row?
I feel like we have been respecting him. We've respected him, but the media at large. Remember last year during media days, he claimed that
Yeah.
Charlotte would win the AAC, and he was very mad. That's when the disrespect train ran. We need someone to actually come up and actually do something to disrespect him again. The Charlotte 49ers are plus 8,000 to win the AAC. Win total is set at 3.5. Minus 125 on the over. Minus 105 on the under. Here's what I have in my notes for Charlotte. They're bringing in a lot of transfers. They had a shitload of penalties last year. Chase, they had 84 penalties in 2023.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a whole lot.
You feel like a guy like Biff Poggi won't stand for that 2 years in a row. He's not the kind of guy that will stand for that.
He won't stand for sleeves on his shirts, so you know he won't stand for penalties.
Is Biff disrespected? Well, maybe after this review, he might be disrespected. Also, their schedule's not easy. The Charlotte schedule is not easy. It's rough. They get like USF at Memphis. UNC, like, I don't know, man. This is tough.
And they dodge UTSA, but the bad news is that of the big three of this conference, they still catch two of the powerhouses with Memphis and Tulane. Whereas, like, if you look at Army actually did pretty well not getting caught with some of the bigger teams in the conference. So, this is tough. There's a lot to figure out here. You got to think of James Madison as essentially just the Indiana Hoosiers now, but it makes you wonder who is JMU at this point.
They play both of them, so we got to find out.
Yep.
I don't like what they're doing at quarterback. I don't like a lot of what this Charlotte team's rolling out. We'll see. I feel like some people are already putting Biff on the hot seat. Don't love that, but we'll see. We'll see with this team. Sports Facts, he's dealing with some stuff right now. Erik will be here.
Yeah.
And then what we'll probably have Erik do is just have his quick takes on all the teams that we end up going through to catch everyone up. And
here's the deal, Sports Facts. He's finally had enough of your Oklahoma State bullshit, and now he's not showing up. You see what you did? You ruined Uncle Rico for everyone.
For future, it would be very, very, very funny that if he just like didn't show up for the Big 12 preview. If Erik was just like not here.
I wish he would phone in his picks and it'd just be Oklahoma State.
That's his only pick. Oklahoma State over. Oklahoma State to win the Big 12. Call it, book it, and done. Chase, let's get through this Charlotte schedule. JMU at home to start the season, and then at UNC for your first two. It's tough. That's tough. Gardner-Webb at home. There you go. And then at Indiana, at Rice, hosting ECU.
I got them with one going into the bye.
I also have them with one going into the bye. In between their two byes, it's at Navy, at Memphis, then Tulane.
I got them 0-3 through there.
I have a question mark on Navy, but I got them going 0-3 as well. And then off the second bye, it's USF at home, at FAU, and UAB.
You know what? I'm going to say they jump up and get UCF or USF too.
I have the Charlotte 49ers going one win. I took the under at minus 105.
Ooh, wouldn't that be a fun team to do an unvictorious bet on?
We've almost had one per conference.
I had
one in the Mountain West.
State. Kennesaw State was my only one. I don't think I had anyone in the Fun Belt go. Wait, did I have someone go over? I think I had someone go. We did. We did have someone go over.
God, who? What? Go watch those episodes and tell us who we had going over.
Yeah, man, we'll figure it out.
I swear that we did, though. I swear that we did.
I can get Charlotte at under 3.5 at plus 110. It's another one that's plus money. I'm taking it.
Take that, because that's way better than DraftKings. They're doing minus 105.
Juice. Too much juice.
Jesus. Yeah, give me that plus 110 all fucking day. Chase, next up we have, some are saying the most improved team in the country this year. It is the ECU Pirates. Win total set at 6, minus 135 on the over, plus 105 on the under. They are plus 1,800 to win the conference. NASCAR asks Jim, when's the CFL coming up? We are later tonight. We are talking CFL on Spring Fever, so stay tuned in for that. But my notes for ECU, they can't get any worse than they were last year. And some people are putting Houston on the hot seat. I don't really believe in that, but also it feels like this team should be better than they've been for the last 4 years. And I just put, I don't know with this team, dude. They had a lot of one-score games last year. Maybe there's some regression. I don't know.
If Homeboy's on the hot seat, the way the schedule is put together, he might not make it out of September.
Right?
There's only one guaranteed win, I think, in the opening, 1, 2, 3, 6 games. There's only one guaranteed win there, and that's Norfolk State.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call like Charlotte a guarantee.
Old Dominion's not either.
Because they were so disappointing last year.
How did they catch the cream of the crop from every G5, it seems like?
Right?
They've got App State. They got Liberty. They got UTSA. They've got, those three.
They have literally the front runners for both the Sun Belt and CUSA on their schedule.
Now, to their credit, they don't catch like a Indiana or a North Carolina or anybody like that. But it's still like it's a G4, G5 murderer's row in September for them. I guess
it's it's like the eternal toughness schedule debate. Would you rather do you think a schedule with like the 3 best teams, like 3 great teams and a bunch of cupcakes is harder than a schedule that like every game is losable, like very easily losable, but no like, clear giants?
If they roll into Charlotte 1-4, then I'm betting the house on Charlotte because I think that might break their backs a little bit. And they've got tough games with App State, Liberty, and UTSA all back to back to back.
So yeah, let's just Norfolk State at ODU, App State at Liberty, UTSA, and then at Charlotte.
I'll give them 2.
I got a question mark on Charlotte. And a question. They could theoretically they could be ODU. I'll give them 2 if I'm being nice. Give them 3, but I'll be nice. I'll be nice and give them 3. In between the bye weeks, it's at Army, and then they host Temple for homecoming. I got them beating Temple.
I don't know what to think of Temple. I'm going to say 0-2 there.
Spoiler, I'm really down on Temple this year. And then after that, it's FAU, at Tulsa, at North Texas, and then Navy.
Fuck.
I gave them a win at Tulsa.
I don't know if Tulsa. What? I'll give them a win at Tulsa, and I'll give them the Navy win. I'll put them at 4.
If I give them the Navy wins, that's still 5. We're both on the under. I'm taking the under 6 at plus 105.
Yeah, under 6.5 is juiced to minus 130 here. This is a no-go for me.
Under 6 plus 105 for me. This is another one. I'm taking every one just in case the people aren't aware. I'm taking every single total for every team. This is just the conference where I end up taking a lot of plus money ones, which is nice.
Absolutely.
Something tells me Eric's going to be on the complete opposite side of us with ECU. And I like the coach. It's a good coach, but man, I don't know. This team has done nothing but disappoint me every time I get hyped for him. So,
right. It seems like North Carolina and disappointing football just seems to go hand in hand together.
Except for App State.
But they're in the Appalachians, so that's like a whole different world anyway.
Also, I feel like Wake Forest has been very nice for the past few years.
A couple of years ago, they were
fun. They were fun as fuck 2 or 3 years ago, dude. They were fun.
They were fun you quaked for Wake a couple of years ago and they were fun. I'll give you that.
And you know what? I can't quit them. Spoiler, I can't quit them. Up next, Chase, though, we have the Seaport, Florida Atlantic, FAU, the Owls plus 2,500 to win the AAC with a win total set at 6.5. plus 100 on the over, minus 130 on the under. Again, what I have in my notes here, it's a good age on offense, just, not a bunch of starters, but a lot of like senior leadership.
Right.
Do you trust a Tom Herman to get the offense together? I think it comes down to like, what do you feel about Tom Herman?
I feel like Texas is back when I hear Tom Herman's name. That's unfair. That's unfair to Tom Herman because he ran up against the buzzsaw that is September Maryland or August Maryland twice.
Hey, second best coach for Texas in the last 15 years, probably.
That's fair. I don't know. I think this is a good place. Florida Atlantic is a good place to be a football program. There's plenty of talent there. So I think that's going to raise the level of this team up just a little bit, but they're also not immune to the whole thing of like, anytime you have a good player, doesn't matter if you got them out of high school or not, they are going to go somewhere else from Boca Raton to another big school.
Do you think the expectations got raised with Kiffin a little too?
Yeah,
much,
absolutely.
Maybe?
Absolutely, they did. And I mean, whenever you back up that Kiffin hire with a hire like Herman, someone who else has the like a college blue blood, the stink of failure at a college blue blood at their attached to their name. I mean, you would think that Herman and all they do is seem to be home run hires with in terms of like name recognition. Because I guess
do you remember who their last head coach was before Herman?
Was it Willie Fritz? No.
Close.
It was,
close. You got the first name.
Willie Taggart.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what.
Disgraced coach Willie Taggart.
This is tough.
Their schedule isn't terrible. It's not like awful. But again, there's so many unknowns with this team. It came down to the biggest factor for me is, do I trust Tom Herman? And if I look deep inside myself in a group of 5 cents, I kind of do. I kind of do trust Tom. Like, what he did at Houston was legitimately impressive.
Yeah.
Like, he got the Texas job for a reason.
He got the Texas job for a reason. It's a name that puts people on the roster. I don't know. I feel like I'm doing a disservice to the people who are watching, because I even with the deepest of analysis on each team, I feel like I don't know much about any of these teams until we get to the top 3 in the conference. So all of these are a crapshoot. 2
returning starters on offense, 6 on defense. Like, they should be pretty decent. Like, I trust Herman to get the offense together. Going into the schedule, they start at Michigan State, though.
That's a L.
That's an L for sure. But then they host Army, host FIU, at UConn, and Wagner.
Do they only win the Wagner game out of that stretch?
I think they can beat UConn very easily. I'm higher on FIU than I am FAU. I think for their opening stretch they go 2-3.
So you think Wagner and FIU?
I think it's Wagner and UConn.
Wagner and UConn.
I think they lose 3 in a row. To start, I think they lose at Michigan State, they lose to Army, and they lose to FIU, but then beat UConn and Wagner.
That's a UConn team that went to a bowl game and won last year.
UConn's they're ready for disappointment.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 1-4 in that stretch.
I don't hate it. In between the buys, Chase, it's North Texas and at UTSA.
I'll give them the win against North Texas.
That's how I felt too. I was like, I'll give them a win against North Texas. I don't know. And then off of the last bye, they host UCF. It's at ECU, at Temple, Charlotte, and at Tulsa. That's a really nice stretch for November.
We'll give them the L at USF. I'll give them the L at East Carolina, and I'm going to say they win 3 straight to end it to go 5-7.
I'm going to also give them the L at USF. I was a toss-up for me for ECU. The fact that it's at ECU, I'm going to give FAU the loss there. And then, just similar to you, I'm going to go 3-0 to end the season. I have them at 6-6. The win total was set at 6.5. I like Tom Herman. I lean to the over. I think they could get someone like an FAU. I think they could also they could beat Army easily. We don't know what this UTSA team is. I like USF a lot. I don't think they're going to win that one. There is a world where this team goes 8-4, and it's not that unbelievable.
Okay, I could see that.
I took the over at plus 100.
There's got to be there's got to be one team that pushes, that challenges the UTSA, the Memphis, the Tulane, and I have no idea who it's going to be, but I can tell you that I can't say it's not going to be the Seaport.
There's a team I like. They're kind of also in that tier. Well, I'll go through all the tiers after of how they have the futures split up.
Sure.
Spoiler alert. Temple is in their own tier by themselves. Up next, though, it's the top tier. It's the number one team. It is Memphis. The Memphis Tigers, Chase. They are plus 220 to win the conference. Their win total is set at 9 to plus 100 on the over, minus 130 on the under. Here's what I wrote down for Memphis. Holy shit, this schedule, LOL. It's not it's not easy. It's not fantastic, but it's very fun. They have potential to have a lot of fun here. I think their offense is going to be absolutely incredible. I love what they're going to be. I think their offense is going to be so good. I think it's going to be so fun to watch. And then I just wrote, this team is going to be so god dang fun. They return 7 on offense, 4 on defense. The big thing is they get Hennigan back. They return the quarterback and every starting wide receiver.
Yeah,
and that's really, but still.
That's pretty much, all that offense seems to need is Hennigan and some, the pass catchers. I honestly will go as far to say that Florida State might be on upset alert against Memphis in week 3.
Very realistically, yes. We don't know what this Florida State team is. However, if they do beat Florida State, I got them losing to Navy the next week.
Oh, totally. That's what's his name? Was it Bryson Daniels or the quarterback from Army ripping them apart sort of game that happens.
Destroying them.
Yeah, dude. This is the kind of team that he would absolutely just tear apart. He did to Syracuse last year.
The Memphis defense was awful last year, and if Navy is good or decent on offense at least, they'll give Memphis maybe 7 or 8 possessions the whole game.
That's true. That is very true. That's kind of how they have to play it. It's a good matchup of styles. Styles make fights, right?
I'm excited for that game. I will always harken back to the Army-Oklahoma game and how very fun that was to watch.
My little cousin that used to play the sousaphone for the Memphis band has graduated, so he's no longer toting that tuba around.
I'll also can I admit something?
No.
Of how much I
please,
just forgot. How much I forgot about the college football season last year. There's moments and everything I remember, but it's a big season. A lot happens. I totally forgot Memphis went 10-3.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really good.
What the fuck?
Right.
God damn. I went back and watched a bunch of highlights. This team is so fun, and they're going to be fun. There's a reason they're plus 220 to win the conference. Let's just get into Chase, anything else before we get in the schedule?
Nope, let's go.
North Alabama, Troy, at FSU, at Navy, Middle Tennessee. I got them losing 1 in that stretch.
5 games, 4 wins. That sounds about right. Yeah.
I have them splitting. If they beat FSU, they're gonna lose to Navy. They could very easily go 0-2 on the road in this stretch, but I got them 4-1 here. Off of the bye, at USF, North Texas, Charlotte at home for homecoming, at UTSA, Rice, and UAB.
I've got them only losing at USF and at UTSA in that stretch.
Spoiler alert, after Florida State Navy stretch, I don't have them losing a single game the rest of the season.
Really?
Yep. I have them beating USF, North Texas, Charlotte, at UTSA, Rice, UAB, and then a bye week at Tulane. I have them going undefeated. I have this Memphis team at 11-1. 10-2 maybe.
Give them the if I give them the USF game, I'm going to flip my decision on the USF game since that's off of a bye, even though that's down at the Raymond James, or as I like to call it, the Ray J. I do think they lose to UTSA at the Alamo Dome. We've seen the power of the old Alamo Dome and what that can do.
You want to hear a take?
Man, they get the toughest teams in the conference all on the road. That's tough. That's the only thing that I think stands in their way of having a really good season, I think.
The thing is, though, Tulane, I think, will still be really good. I think UTSA takes a noticeable step back. USF will also be tough. That's going to be a great game. I will say, my take, hot take maybe, potential AAC game of the year, Rice at Memphis.
God, I hate that you love Rice this much.
I know. I've also talked myself into something that you might really not like. Also, shout out NASCAR. The background's fun. I like doing these.
So I see your logic though. If they beat UTSA, then they're prime pickings for Rice, right? Assuming that UTSA is what we think that they are.
Yeah, I think they're prime. I think that's a easy letdown spot potentially for Memphis. I think Rice, similar to last year, is going to be a very potentially hot and cold team.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they're going to get hot at the right moment. Memphis is just going to be a very fun to watch. Like if there are G5 teams that you want to watch for pure entertainment, just tune into Memphis games. This defense won't be good. The offense will be great. And a lot of teams, I feel, in the AAC could take advantage of that. That USF game is also going to be legendary.
Their helmets alone are worth the price of admission, I will say. They have some of the best helmets in college football.
Facts.
Yeah, so on Bet Online, the total's set at 9.5 here for Memphis. Over 9.5 is plus 130. But I think they probably sit right around 9 wins, so I can't take it, even though that's probably the best odds that I could get this entire show.
I'm going to take the over there. I got the over 9 at plus 100. I'll take the over 9.5 at plus 130. There is a very real fact of can this team go 10-2 2 years in a row?
That's hard to do. It's hard to back up that
sort of success in these conferences.
And plus, I mean, we don't know what to make of Tulane. Tulane has a new head coach. We don't know what to make of them. Navy has a new head coach. We don't know what to make of them. Troy. I mean, let's not act like Troy's not let's not act like Troy and North Texas aren't going to be tough games. I'm always a big fan of the fighting men of Troy. So, I mean, I'm going to call it 9-3. I'll be on the under. It's a don't play for me.
I'm on the over. I kind of like it. It's tough though. This was a tougher one for me. Up next, Chase. Up next, we have Navy, the Navy midshipmen, plus 4,000 to win the conference with the win total set at 5.5. My notes for Navy are as thus. Defense equals goodish. I think most service academy defenses are fine. They're just really helped by the style of offense that they end up playing. The triple option does so much for their defense.
Right.
They were close last year. They were close. I don't know if they can get over the hump. Jeff is asking, serious question, is Youngstown State Division I? Yes, but FCS.
FCS, yeah.
That's still Division I though.
Still Division I, just a different subdivision.
And then also back to the option. They're another team last year that tried to change it up a little bit. Back to the option. Back to Old Faithful. Back to meat and potatoes.
Yeah. That means Navy unders are back on the table. That's the good news.
Yes, sir. Unders for an Army Navy games are very much on the table.
They have the one unfortunate thing of their one rival that they play every single year is Notre Dame, and that's pretty much a guaranteed L every single year for them. Outside of that, they really don't have that overall tough of a schedule. I mean, they do have spots where they have to go to Air Force and play. What we like to say, fade the teams going west, especially when they're going to Colorado Springs, the heart of the Rockies. I don't know.
Well, their toughest games are at home, though.
It's their toughest games are at home, and I guess this is the one thing that you can really say for not only Navy but the service academies, which is it's not like people really transfer from service academies. Like you're pretty well locked in once you decide to go to a service academy. So it's not like you really get rated or anything. So you should have some continuity unless they had a lot of turnover in like upperclassmen graduating. What did that look like? What's their?
Theirs is decent. They got 4 starters returning on offense. They have their left tackle, right guard, their fullbacks returning, and their centers returning. So some decent continuity. The quarterback the quarterback Blake Horvath Jr. They have like some decent stuff. Defense, they have 7 returning starters. Pretty decent, all things considered.
Yeah.
And I like this Navy team. I quite like this Navy team. I think they get teams at good spots. Like they get a team like Memphis after Memphis plays Florida State. Navy's coming off of a bye. Like that's pretty nice. They get Tulane at home, Memphis at home. They have to go to USF, which is tough. Like you said, they play a team like Notre Dame.
But it's at a neutral site, to be fair. That one's at MetLife.
Why? Oh, Chase, I think you're muted. I don't know why. Why are they playing at MetLife?
It's the Shamrock Series. They like to go to places that have
what you consider to be bastions of Catholicism to play games. I've seen a Shamrock Series game. I saw them play Arizona State in Dallas.
Huh. I can dig it. Let's get to this Navy's
Tommy Reese. Dumb ass Tommy.
Oh, Jesus. Let's get to the schedule. Bucknell and Temple to start it off. Nice job, Nate. I appreciate 2-0 for sure. I appreciate any G5 team because the P5 knows how to do this. The P4 does this. I appreciate G5 teams that do like at least the week 1 cupcake. Because there's nothing worse. I feel like there's nothing worse than a fan base than you try out your team week 1 and you get annihilated.
Right. Absolutely. You need to get that cupcake in, get Bucknell, get them at home. Man, they catch Memphis in such a great spot. Not only do they have a bye week going into it, but they have Memphis coming off of Florida State. That's a really good spot.
I am totally going to be betting Navy that week.
You play that spot. You 100% play that spot.
100% of the time. I'm going to give them an L here, but I will be playing Navy that week. And so it's off the bye week. It's Memphis at UAB at Air Force.
I think they get 1 win in that stretch, and it's going to be UAB.
I gave them 2. I gave them 1 win, and I also have them beating UAB here. Off of the next bye week, it's Charlotte at home for homecoming. Notre Dame, like we said, at MetLife, at Rice, at USF, and then Tulane.
Give them the win at Charlotte. Give them the win at Rice. I've got them at 5 wins going into the next bye.
I did the exact same as you. I got them at 5 wins going into that bye. Chase, we only need 1 win to go to this over. It's at ECU and then a neutral versus Army. I got them beating ECU.
I'll say they beat Army. Bowling in Annapolis.
Bowling for Navy. I'm taking the over 5.5 at plus 115.
This is a play for me. Over 5.5, I can get it plus 125.
God, DraftKings, up your fucking odds. What are we doing here?
Well, I think the deal is they like pay taxes and stuff as opposed to
Whatever. Who fucking cares? That's
Who-
disgusting. That's a disgusting difference. I'm glad I haven't like made some of these bets yet. I'm gonna probably, since I don't have an active sports book here, I have to do them probably on Bet Online or Bovada or wherever. But these will be made. Up next, right. Chase. It's a team I feel like we both kind of hold close to our heart. I don't know how much after they fired Seth Luttrell we do.
Yeah,
but we did. It's the North Texas Mean Green, plus 2,000 to win the conference. The win total set at 5.5. The over is minus 145. The under plus 115. Again, I still don't like the Luttrell firing, even like a couple years of hindsight, because they haven't changed much. Their offense still really good. Defense still absolutely dog shit. Terrible defense. They also got pretty hurt by the transfer portal. 2 returning offensive starters, 5 on defense.
It's rough for North Texas because this is a brutal schedule. Who did they hire to coach? I don't remember off the top of my head.
The head coach for North Texas is Erik Morris. I don't remember where he was before. Let me look him up.
I'm looking him up too. Oh my God, this guy is like 16.
He is 38.
I'm a year older than this guy.
So he's coaching there.
Better than I am.
He coached there last year, was his first year.
Yep.
He was the Washington State OC before that. Incarnate, so he coached at Incarnate. Okay, so he like obviously offensive minded, Texas ties.
Yeah. They were 5-7 last year. I think that if they didn't have they could be staring at another 5-7 season just because of how this schedule is put together. But this is a team that I think could take a step forward. I worry that they take a step back though because of the level of competition that they're going to be facing.
They're one of the teams that we've talked about. Like, it doesn't matter if they improve or not. Even if they do improve this year, it might not be reflected on the schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It just might mean they play a bunch of close games as opposed to getting blown out.
I think they will play a bunch of close games. I don't know how many go their way. The thing with North Texas is like, they'll be really good if their defense improves. Guess what? I just don't see their defense improving. I've watched North Texas enough. I don't care that it was a different coach before. I've seen this team enough times. The offense is good to great. The defense is always, always bad.
Do we know if they still have the twins that play?
I don't think so. I don't think they have those twins anymore. Let me take a look at the defensive roster. I got it right here. Shipley, Jordan Brown. Oh! If it was... No, because one's a junior, one's a senior. They do have one of my favorite names in college football, though. Cornerback Ridge Tejada. Ridge Tejada.
That's a pretty good name. That is a very good name.
That's a good name. Let's get into the schedule, Chase. At USF, Stephen F. Austin. At Texas Tech, Wyoming, and then Tulsa at home.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't Stephen F. Austin a pretty good FCS program?
They're pretty decent FCS. They're not bad.
I'm going to say L at South Alabama. I'll give them the win at Stephen F. Austin. I'm going to say they take the L at Texas Tech.
We're going to correct that, Chase. They did go 3-8 last year, Stephen F. Austin.
Stephen F. Austin. Okay. I'm going to give them, so I feel more confident saying they get the win at Stephen F. Austin. They take the L. They're 1-2 in the first 3.
May have gotten them confused with Austin P.
That's fair.
I gave them the win against Stephen F. Austin. I also gave them the win
at Tulsa against Tulsa.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you 2 and 3 there.
They theoretically could win against South Alabama, but I don't know. I don't trust it. And then off the bye, it's Florida Atlantic, at Memphis, and then Tulane at home. That's a tough stretch. That's a tough damn stretch.
You know what? I'm going to give them Florida Atlantic off of the bye, and I'm going to say they lose at Memphis and to Tulane at home. So I've got them with, 3 wins right now?
Sports facts, I said they could, not that they would. There's like a chance. There's a chance with this offense. I don't think they will, though. I had them beating Florida Atlantic, losing to Memphis, losing to Tulane. Off of the next bye, it's Army at home, at UTSA, ECU, and at Temple.
I'll give them the Army win to make it 4. They lose at UTSA. I think they're in for another 5-7 season.
I got them beating ECU, and I got them beating Temple. I had this team exactly at 5.
I'm gonna have a lot of.
I feel like
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I feel like 4 and 8's more likely than 6 and 6, though.
Whatever it is, they're not touching that total set at 5.5. That's for sure.
Give me the under.
I'll take the under 2, and it's one I'm going to play since it's plus 110.
Plus 115 for me, baby.
There you go. Finally worked out in your favor.
Finally, DraftKings. Jesus. Plus 115 here for North Texas. Up next, it's a team that I feel like we could say tormented us last year a little bit.
A lot.
It's the Rice Owls. Plus 1,400 to win the conference with the win total set at 6.5. Minus 150 on the over. Plus 120 on the under. They frustratingly went 6-7 last year. 4-4 in conference. We couldn't get a read on this team to save our life.
They should have been so much better with who they had at quarterback, right? JT Daniels, was that who it was?
Yeah, they had JT Daniels, and he was decent, but like they just were losing games inexplicably. I for the life of me could not understand why.
He was like inexplicably benched for like a few games too.
Yep, he had a weird season.
It's a weird team for a weird season. They're an afterthought in Houston. I'm not high on this team, even though I know you are. I look at the schedule and I see it's not bad, but
it's not bad, not great
spots. Yeah, there's some tough spots.
Here are my Rice notes. This defense can cook. I believe the defense will improve, and I believe the defense will be actually pretty good. They have 9 returning starters on defense.
That's
3
impressive.
returning starters on offense. They had to replace JT Daniels, but you know who they replaced him with? E.J. Warner, son of Kurt Warner, who was the quarterback at Temple last year. Yep. I think he led the AAC in passing yards. I think the offense actually gets better from last year. I like this Rice team. Chase doesn't like this Rice team, which sounds about right because we don't know how to do anything with Rice.
Right.
I don't know, dude.
Let's just go through the schedule.
Sam Houston, Texas Southern, both at home, and then it's at Houston for the Bayou Bucket Classic.
I'll say 1-2 in that stretch.
I had them going 2-1 in that stretch.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do mean 2-1. I think they beat Sam Houston. I do think they beat Texas Southern. Houston, I think, is going to be tough. They're going to be better than they were last year with Sans Dana with Willie at the helm.
I think they could beat Houston, but I don't think they will. After that, it's at Army, and then they host Charlotte for the bye week. I think I had them splitting Houston Army.
I think you split them too. For one, I think I think Army gets them because for one, it's a long trip from Houston up to West Point, and 2, they're gonna have to stop what's his name at quarterback, and who knows if they can do that. I have no idea what they can do. But I will disrespect Biff Poggi and say that they get Charlotte there.
I'm gonna come up though. I think they got I have them actually splitting Houston and Army. I have them 4-1 going into the bye week.
Are you fucking kidding?
I am not kidding you, Chase. I like this Rice team quite a bit. Out of the bye, it's UTSA at home, at Tulane, at UConn, Navy, and then at Memphis. Oof.
I'm looking at. I think they drop 4 of those. I think they drop 4 of those 5. And I think they lose to UConn because even though they're coming off of a bye, they come off of a bye to play what's going to be one of the best teams in the conference with UTSA. They have to follow that by going on the road to another toughest team in the conference with Tulane. And then you have to go on the road again to UConn, make a long-ass trip to East Hartford from Houston. I understand that that's an airport hub and you can get a direct flight and everything, but still, like I think that you're a little bit beat up going into that UConn game and you get housed. But I think they beat Navy, lose to Memphis.
They're easily one of the tougher stretches in the conference. Like you said, they get the 3 top teams in the conference with UTSA at Tulane and at Memphis. And then they get UConn right after Tulane on the road. And then they get a team like Navy right before Memphis. That being said, Chase, I got them going 3-2 in this stretch.
That's bold.
I'm bold with Rice, baby. And then off of the other bye week, it's at UAB and USF at home.
You know what? I say unvictorious. I think they go 4-8 this year.
I think they go 1-1 in this stretch. So I have them at 1. I have them at 8-4. So we have them at opposite.
At complete opposite ends of the spectrum.
That is perfect for Rice.
So the under is plus money at under 6.5. Yeah. I have them 2 games clear. I'm not touching this with it feels like waving your dick in the face of the gambling gods if you're playing any sort of action, which I know you will, just because you're going to play action on everyone. But it feels like if you're playing any sort of action on Rice before the season that you're waving your dick in the face of the gambling gods.
I will wave my dick proud because not only am I taking the over 6.5 for the Rice Owls, I'm putting a little bit on plus 1,400 that Rice actually wins the AAC this year.
Are you fucking kidding me? Okay.
I am not kidding you.
If you're right, that's an epic call, and I'm proud to call you a friend. If you're wrong, I will make fun of you just a little bit. I'll make fun of you just a little bit.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
It will be deserved. Okay. But if I'm right on Rice, that'll feel good. That'll feel really good. Up next, it's a very, very fun team, Chase. It is. I don't know why. So, damn right, Jeff. We do all wave our dicks for Rice. Up next, Chase. So, some people do USF, some people do South Florida. I went with the Athlon booklet of how I did these alphabetically. So, up next, we have South Florida, the USF Bulls, plus 650 to win the conference with a win total set at 7, minus 120 on the over, minus 110 on the under. They need their offensive line to improve. I don't see why they couldn't, honestly. I don't see why their O-line wouldn't improve. They return like a decent amount. They return 8 on offense. They return 8 on defense. And, like, I get that their defense last year was very turnover dependent. We worry about how sustainable that is for some teams. I don't care. This USF team is somehow blasting in recruiting compared to every other team in the conference. Something about this team has changed, has clicked. They're different. I like this USF team quite a bit.
Are they really different, or did they just really have one good game against Alabama last year?
They did go 7-6.
That's true.
A lot of close games.
They backed it up with a good game after, too, didn't they? When traditionally you would be really beat up after Alabama.
They slaughtered Rice. So
yeah, they slaughtered.
yeah.
It's a really tough schedule.
It is a very tough schedule.
They're always in a fertile recruiting. I guess how much is just off-topic question? How much does recruiting actually mean anymore?
I still think it means quite a bit. I think recruiting means a decent amount, especially for these G5 teams that they get more transfers taken away than they bring in.
That's fair.
I think recruiting means a lot. And I think the 2 things that mean a lot are recruiting and then like your roster turnover, like how many guys you have coming back.
How many do they have coming back, Jim?
8 and 8. 8 on offense, 8 on defense. Pretty strong both ways. Their quarterback, Byron Brown, is returning. So Chase, on offense, they return at least 1 wide receiver, a decent chunk of their offensive line, quarterback, running back, and tight end.
Damn. But also looming on their schedule is a game at Alabama, a game, at least they get Miami at home, but they have Miami backed up immediately by Tulane. This is one of the harder schedules in the conference. But they do get a little bit of a breather there at the end. So I think with them returning a lot, if they're recruiting decently, if they don't, you have to wonder what the DNA of this year's Alabama team will be. Is it going to be the kind of Alabama team that like will turn your one loss into two because they just beat you the fuck up? Because it's not like Kellen DeBoer's like Washington team was a smack you in the mouth sort of football team by any means. And there was a ton of transfers out of Alabama. So I think, I don't know. Let's see.
It's an interesting thought. I think we'll see a different Alabama. It is rough for the schedule that they get Alabama and Miami, because at least from what I've seen of a lot of people's opinions, a lot of people are super high on Miami this year. I don't know if I can get there with Mario Cristobal as the head coach.
We'll see.
No
turnover chain, no chase.
They have a lot of talent, though. So they start the season, Bethune-Cookman at home, at Alabama, at Southern Miss, Miami at home, and at Tulane. Roughest part of their schedule easily. And I think they go 2-3.
Same with you. 2-3.
Off of the bye, it's Memphis at home and UAB at home for homecoming.
I think they split them.
I think they split them as well. They could beat Memphis. That's a good time to get Memphis.
Yeah.
Off of their next bye, it's at FAU, Navy at home, at Charlotte, Tulsa, at Rice. What a way to end the season.
Yeah, like I guess like they're getting medals in heaven for the pain that they endure at the beginning of the season, because the last half of their schedule, after that second bye, I don't think they lose a game.
I was going to say, I got them going 5-0 in that stretch.
I don't think they lose a game after the Memphis game. I've got them 8-4. That puts me firmly on the over, plus 120. That's another play for me.
I'm on 8-4. You got plus 120 for over 7?
Over 7.5 plus 7.5 plus 120.
I got over just flat 7 minus 120. So I'm going to go wherever Chase got that and take that. Also, took a shot. I'm also betting South Florida, the USF Bulls, to win the AAC at plus 650. I like them quite a bit.
I haven't made my mind up on my conference pick.
I got my two teams already. Back to back, I got my two teams.
I think this is kind of a sexy pick, to be fair. A very sexy pick.
I think a lot of people are high on USF. I think a lot of people are like, they're kind of like, when I talk about the tiers after we're done with the win totals, they're kind of in that like cool middle stretch that a lot of people like to go for. Up next, the other Owl team in the AAC. It's weird that they have two Owl teams, but whatever. Lots of birds. Yep. Lots of birds in this conference. The Temple Owls. Chase, the Temple Owls are plus 35,350 to 1 to win the AAC, with a win total set at 2.5, minus 120 on the over, minus 110 on the under. They lost their quarterback last year. He's now at Rice. Their offensive line is terrible. They're changing their scheme defensively. And let me take a look. So 5 offensive starters returning, 3 on defense. Their schedule is pretty damn tough. And here's a fun fact for you, Chase. The Temple Owls have not won on the road since September of 2021.
You know what? I feel like we need to keep a streak. We need to keep a streak alive here. And when I say that, I mean, I think I've found my team in the conference that I'm picking to go unvictorious.
Yep. Chase, you and me, again, are in solid agreement. NASCAR, yes, the women do shake their ass for Rice. Damn right. I think this team could very easily, so when I was writing down my wins, I gave them all L's and then 2 question marks. I didn't even give them a solid W. Can you guess the 2 teams that I gave them question marks for?
I'm going to say UConn.
Yep.
And Utah State.
No, it's UConn and Tulsa.
In Tulsa. Okay, that's fair.
So they start the season at Oklahoma, at Navy, Coastal Carolina, Utah State, Army, and at UConn.
I'm not even sure if we need to go through this because I don't think they win a game this year.
I think the only I don't think they win. Dude, there's a very real chance they go winless. I'm taking the under. It's minus 110, so whatever, but
Yep.
I'm taking that under. This is a gross team, Chase. And the crazy thing is, normally you'd be like, oh, they could improve. They were like, how do you lose your quarterback to an in-conference team?
How do you not give yourself any sort of cupcake to play? You lead it off with Oklahoma. Like you don't. Are you? Where's the LaSalles of the
They
world?
don't play an FCS.
They don't play an FCS school. That's just a missed opportunity.
It's crazy.
Oh, 12.
So I just realized now, I don't know how I was dumb and didn't realize. Not only did they lose their quarterback to an in-conference team, they lost it to the only other Owl team.
Hootie fucking who? That's
Fuck.
dirty.
Oh my God. This team stinks. This team flat out stinks. Up next, a team that doesn't stink, and I still don't think will stink, and is very fun, is the Tulane Green Wave. Plus 350 to win the conference. Win total is set at 7.5, minus 145 on the over, plus 115 on the under. The biggest question probably is, what is their offense going to look like now that Willie Fritz has departed? I do love John Summerall as a coach. What he's done has been nothing short of incredible. He was at Troy, I believe.
Yeah.
And
I think you're right.
I think the defense, I think his defensive philosophy and everything transfers pretty well to Tulane. I think they're going to be pretty darn good. Big question though, what does the offense look like and what are they doing at quarterback? 6 returning offensive starters 6 returning offensive starters, 5 returning defensive starters. I've seen a couple things that they're doing the thing where both guys are going to go into fall camp and we don't know. So I have no idea who's starting game 1 for quarterback. But I like this team.
It doesn't. Well, it looks like they got the Oregon transfer Ty Thompson, and they have Kai Horton, who's been in the program. They're battling to replace Pratt. They get a lot of production back at running back. They snapped up a couple of wide receivers, one from USC and one from LSU. I think which both of those are noted schools for wide receivers. I think they recruit well because they're in New Orleans and they're like, throw a rock and you're going to hit a good player in the New Orleans or South Louisiana area. I think that this is the team that I wish had better odds to win the conference because I could see them just staying good and not falling off too terribly after Willie Fritz leaves.
I agree 100%. I think I wish they were getting similar to USF odds because I agree about the fall off situation. They're a team that I thought would have been interesting if their schedule was a little bit easier to take to maybe make the playoffs if they can win it again. But the fact that they play both Kansas State and Oklahoma kind of shoots that one in the face.
It does a little bit. But I'm not gonna say that they can't jump up and beat Kansas State at home.
So they beat, was it last year or was it a couple years ago that they beat Kansas State? I think it was a couple years ago they beat them in Kansas State.
Yeah. Yeah, now they get them at home.
So, they very easily could. I just don't think, I think they, obviously I don't think they beat both of them.
No,
I feel like you're either going to have one loss or undefeated to make the playoffs as a G5. Because I feel like certain teams, Liberty, have such a cakewalk schedule that it's going to be tough to get in there with more than one loss.
I agree.
So they start the season, Southeastern Louisiana, the Lions, then K-State at home, at Oklahoma, at Louisiana, USF, at UAB.
I'm going to be bold and say they get either Kansas State or Oklahoma.
So, spoiler alert for the Big 12 preview, I'm very high on this K-State team. They could maybe, I don't know about this Oklahoma team, but I'm also I trust them. I have them going, I think 2-4 in that stretch.
I've got the opposite. I'm high on them. I'm going to say they go 4-2.
I got them going 1, 2, 1, 2. I have them going 3-3. Yeah, 3-3. I have a question mark on USF. I'm going to give them a loss there. Off of the bye, it's Rice at home, at North Texas, at Charlotte, Temple for homecoming, at Navy.
I don't think they lose a game between the two byes.
I don't think they do either. I think they go 5-0, and then they play Memphis off the last bye to end the season. I got them losing to Memphis.
I got them losing to Memphis too. I've got them 9-3.
I got them 8-4.
It's too bad that the total for over 7.5 is -160.
Yeah, I got -145 here. I'm going to take it. Can't recommend it. Kind of what Chase said and what a lot of people are saying. I just feel like Tulane's going to be like maybe a little bit worse than last year, but not bad by any stretch of the word.
No, and I think their schedule after they hit that first bye is pretty nice when they don't have anybody until they got Memphis the last week.
Chef's kiss. And he's here finally. Uncle Rico in the house.
What's up, boys? What's up?
Erik, we have 3 teams left.
Dude, I've been battling home appliances since yesterday, so I am sorry I am late.
It's all good. Do you want to just rattle off some takes for did you have any picks for the let's see. I'll go through all the teams, Erik. You tell me if you have picks or not.
Okay.
Army.
No.
Plus 2,200 to win the conference, a win total at 6. Any play?
No.
Charlotte plus 8,000 to win the conference, win total 3.5.
No.
Any takes at all for Charlotte?
Army, my take is if their young guys in defense can be any good, they could be interesting. Charlotte, Biff wants to win, but the schedule is too tough. Another long season.
Yep, we said that's what me and Chase said too. This they could improve, and you won't see it on the scoreboard. That's a tough schedule. ECU plus 1,800 to win the conference. Win total at 6.
They lost.
Some are calling them the most.
Players
Some are calling them the most improved team in the country.
To me, schedule is good, but they lost too many all-conference players and have too many questions on offense to do anything.
Florida Atlantic plus 2,500 to win the conference. 6.5 win total.
Oh shit, that was for Florida Atlantic.
Yeah,
sorry,
I said so.
That was for Florida.
So that what he just said for FAU. Now rewind it back. ECU, the Pirates.
Team is much improved from last season, but I have concerns on the back end of the defense.
Okay, not so far. No bets.
So far, nothing, dude.
Okay, up next, Memphis Tigers plus 220 to win the conference. 9 is their win total.
If the opposing offense is getting 4 yards a carry, it's going to be hard to trust this defense to do anything.
Yeah, it's, the defense is going to be. They're going to be fun. They're going to be very fun. Navy plus 4,000 to win the conference. 5.5 win total.
Fun team, but they're going to struggle a lot.
Ooh, interesting. I think me and Chase were both like fairly higher on Navy. Up next, North Texas Mean Green plus 2,000 to win the conference. Win total
5.5. One of the goals of the offseason was to get bigger up front in the D-line. They did that. Back seven's much better. Defense is going to be very good, better than people think. I just think that their offense is going to be a little worrisome. I think their defense is going to be great. I have questions about their offense.
I said the opposite just because it's North Texas, and I just trust. I don't know. I trust it. Rice Owls plus 1,400 to win the conference. 6.5 win total. Come on.
They added 4 300-pound guys in the defensive line. They got the Ivy League Player of the Year. He is back for year 7. Defense is going to be good. Way more athletic. Schedule is a little rough, and I don't trust EJ Warner.
Oh, interesting. I respect that, though. South Florida plus 650 to win the conference. Win total at 7.
All right, so this is the team I'll talk the most about because this is the only team I like. If that's okay.
That's fair. Go ahead.
They have the best quarterback in the league in my eyes. was a stud last season, throwing for over 3,000 yards, and was a leading rusher on the team. He will be behind a good O-line, greatly improved from last season. Losing Dukes will be a blow, but I like the other two backs for a nice 1-2 punch. They have Wright and Keith transferring in. Pressure will be on Yassine to become the number one wide receiver. Lots of depth, but they have no clear-cut number one guy that we know of yet. They could, but they have a lot of question marks. Defensive line, they're getting a lot back, will be as good as last season. Losing Evans, I feel, is kind of a worry point in the linebacker room. But with how good I think their defensive line is, I think they're going to be able to band-aid what Evans did. Secondary will be the strength of the defense with the transfers they have, plus the people returning. It's going to be elite. They are way ahead of schedule right now because this is year 2. It's usually year 3. I like their schedule. I like how explosive the offense is. I like the quarterback. I like the offensive line. I played over 7.5 at plus 115, and for them to win the American at 7-1.
I like it.
I like it too. I like that a lot. Temple plus 35,000 to win the conference. Win total 2.5.
They're adding 7 DBs, and they were so bad last year, and they still may not improve. That was
me and Chase picked them to be our winless team in
our unvictorious team.
Yeah, for the AAC.
O-line and skill positions are brutal.
Up next, the last team we talked about, Tulane plus 350 to win the conference. 7.5 is their win total.
A lot of all-conference players walking out, especially Pratt. That's going to be hard. Schedule didn't do them any favors either.
I still think they're going to be good, though.
Me too.
I mean, they'll be. I mean, I think I have them at what?
We had them both at. Me and Chase both had them at 8-4.
I have Tulane at 7-5.
That's still pretty good.
That's good. That's good. I have South Florida at 10-2.
Up next, the Tulsa Golden Hurricane plus 5,000 to win the conference with a win total set at 4.5, minus 130 to the over, plus 100 to the under. My notes, I have 2 things for Tulsa. Lots of close losses to end the season last year, and they have to improve kind of just everywhere. Like, they weren't great or good at any one thing. They were just kind of all around bleh.
Yeah.
I mean, Francis, who only played 4 games as a freshman, is back. You can expect that he'll be better with the experience. Offensive line is a wreck and an experience. Watkins is back and going to be interesting to see him run behind an offensive line that is this bad. I think they're going to do a lot of 2 tight end sets to band-aid some issues. And it's important to remember CMU had this guy named Lou, who when they had those 2 offensive linemen that made it in the league, this guy Lou was running for over 1,500 yards. People were talking about him going to the league. The 2 offensive linemen leave. He had 720 for the year. So when you don't have these offensive linemen, kind of get to see if these backs are any good at all. And if these guys aren't able to block, they're going to be tough. Ballard from UTEP is coming in. They have a true number 1 in Benjamin. They need to give Francis time. They lost Kamitsky and Rogers, which will hurt their defensive line. Linebackers will be the strength of the defense. They lost Ray in the back 4. I think that's just too much. I think with the D line and the DBs, this team is going to give up a lot of passing yards and going to have a hard time stopping teams.
You could just say bleh for Tulsa, Eric. It's fine.
You say bleh.
Yeah.
Bleh. So they start the season. Here's how they do it. Northwestern State at home, at Arkansas State, Oklahoma State at home, at Louisiana Tech, at North Texas, and then Army before the bye.
I'll give them the Army win. I got them 3 wins there in that stretch. Why not?
I got them 2.
I got the Army game as a toss-up. I'll be nice and give them a win there. After the bye, it's at Temple, UTSA at home for homecoming, at UAB.
I gave them
1 and 2.
Yeah, I just gave them the Temple win there. Off of the second bye, it's ECU at home, at USF, and then FAU at home. I got them 0-3 there.
I also
gave
had them 0-3.
You know what? I gave them 2.
I got them at 4 wins. I think 3 is more likely than 5. I went with the under for plus 100.
I've got them over 4.5. Both sides of this are for me are juiced to the minus. So this is just a straight up don't play.
Yeah, I got them at 5 and 7.
Up next, it's the UAB Blazers, otherwise known as the Fighting Dilfs, plus 3,000 to win the conference. Win total is set at 6.5, plus 110 on the over, minus 140 on the under. I think their quarterback's going to be pretty good. I think their quarterback situation is pretty darn good. We need their defense to get a lot better. You need your defense to get much, much better, UAB. I don't know. Also, it's Trent Dilfer, guys. It's Trent Dilfer.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And his wife. And his wife who doesn't look as good whenever they lose. Was that what it was? Is that what he said last year?
Yeah, he said the wife doesn't look as hot after a loss.
Zeno is back, second year of the offense. We expect him to make a jump. O-line is 6 players from last year's season back, plus they added 2 pretty good transfers. So this unit's going to be a huge upgrade from last season. Josh Jacobs' little brother is their starting running back. He is back. He's going to share the backfield with Godwin from LSU. Nice little 1-2 punch in terms of the wide receiver room. They really don't have a clear-cut number 1 wide receiver. Front 7 is going to be the backbone of the defense. They added 4 transfers from Power 4 to go with the 2 stars returning. Maddox, who is a Walter Payton finalist, is transferring in. Will show up in the middle of the field. But the back 4 is going to be god-awful. And if the defensive line can't get and disrupt opposing quarterbacks, it's going to be hard. And look, I look back. I think their O-line is good. I think their defensive line is going to be improved. But I think Trent Dilfer is an awful coach. And if I had to bet one team that I will not bet on all year, it would be UAB.
That's kind of where I'm at too. I like a lot of what they have coming back. Usually I like a team that has a bunch of offensive linemen coming back. I like what they have even behind them. Even if the receivers aren't there, I still like what they have. I don't trust the defense to not be awful against the pass, and I don't trust the Dilf.
Dude, you can't trust the fucking Dilf. Excuse my language. I'm trying not to swear. You can't trust the Dilf.
You just can't. So they start the season Alcorn State, at ULM, and at Chase's Arkansas Razorbacks.
Here's the hot take. We still won't be able to run the ball against UAB.
Jesus. I'm gonna be ballsy.
Will you be able to pass it?
We'll probably be able to pass. Listen, we're not gonna be able to establish the run. That's what's up.
You know what? I'm gonna be ballsy. I'm gonna say they're gonna be 1-2 after this little stretch.
I got them 2-1.
I'm gonna go 2-1. ULM's pretty bad. Alcorn State is not a bad team. I think they'll lose to Arkansas, though. I actually, just because of who we are, I think they'll give Arkansas a game.
Yeah, I think that'll be a weird Arkansas game. Who's Arkansas play after? So it's right before the Auburn game.
Oh, fucking great. Sorry to swear.
Actually, yeah, it's sandwiched between at Oklahoma State and at Auburn. That's rough. I'm sorry, Chase.
We might lose this game, dude. We might.
It's gonna be.
It's fucking Trent Dilfer, dude.
I don't think you'll lose it, but that'll be a very disappointing and stressful game to watch.
Yeah, if it goes down to the wire, I might hang myself with a piano wire.
Chase, I can't tell you the amount of times I've said that about my Nebraska Cornhuskers. It's a lot. In between the buys, Navy at home, Tulane at home, at Army, at USF.
I have them winning 2.
I have them 0-4 here.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with the 0-4 also.
I have them 0-4 here, dude. You weren't here for it, Eric. Me and Chase are Army. We're both flipped on. We don't know. Army's probably our biggest. We don't know what the hell is going on there. I think we're both fairly higher on Navy, and we both like Tulane a little bit more than you.
Yeah, and then they have to go and play at the Ray J, even though they got the bye week coming up.
I have them I'm not high on Navy, and I'm a little down on Tulane.
That's fair.
So,
Off of the bye, Tulsa at home for homecoming, UConn at home, at Memphis, Rice at home, and at Charlotte.
I have them beating Tulsa, then losing out.
I got them beating Tulsa, UConn, and Charlotte.
I'll have them beating UConn and Charlotte, so I've got them 4-8.
I got them 5-7.
Okay.
But we're all on the unders. I took it -140. I cannot recommend that to people.
Yeah.
Just don't trust Trent Dilfer.
It's hard to.
Last team,
Super Bowl champion quarterback
that
Trent
is fair.
Dilfer. Put some respect on his name.
Last team, it is UTSA, the Roadrunners, plus 450 to win the AAC with a win total set at a solid 8. -125 on the over, -105 on the under. I have one note here that's kind of split into two. How do you replace what UTSA has lost? But the offense should still be pretty good somehow.
I mean, Harris, 7-year
Been there
starter.
forever.
7-year starter gone. Yeah. McCown stepping in, looked good in his one half last year. The good news is the offensive line is experienced. 100 starts coming back. Be able to give him time to throw the ball. 3-headed rotational system at the running back. And it's kind of unique. All 3 of these guys could be starting at different places, but they all just stayed here. They did lose Sessoms and their number 2 wide receiver from last season. So maybe that's like the little hiccup in the offense, not having that chain mover, that wide receiver you can count on to move the ball. Clark, who's barely played the last 2 seasons, is back. They're really high on him. They have the best defensive lineman in the league in Evans. Have size up front, so it'll be tough to run on. Linebackers could be the best in the conference. The only worry about the defense is the back 4, losing 3 starters, and Alexander is gone. But here's my crazy thought. Does the winner of the UTSA Texas State game, do they have that inside path to the college football playoffs?
The issue is
Libibity. Libibity is the...
Yeah, because if Libibity beats Texas State, I think Liberty goes undefeated. That's the only issue.
Yeah.
And I think even if UTSA beats Texas State, obviously, I think they lose to Texas the next week.
They actually, I was looking at this Texas schedule. They catch Texas in a really good spot because you know who Texas has leading into that game? They go to the Big House. They play at Michigan, I believe.
I wish there was like a sandwich spot because it's ULM after UTSA.
True, but still, you're still coming off of that Michigan game, which I don't think the identity of that Michigan team is going to change a lot. Where I still think they kind of like pound you like Alabama used to.
I think so. I think Michigan's going to be one of those teams.
Yeah, I'm not going to give them the win, but I think Texas could be on upset alert there.
I think Erik, it'd be fun. Oh God, I didn't think about it. To do a little thought piece of G5, who do we think is going to make the playoffs? Because I made 2 bets so far, or 3. I think I made 3 bets on G5 teams to make the playoffs.
I mean, I really would I think Conference USA is going to hold Liberty down, and if Liberty just loses 1 game, so hypothetically, let's say Liberty. They beat ECU. They beat App State. And they have a hiccup against Jacksonville State.
They're going to hiccup against Jack State.
I think you're right.
I think if they have 1 hiccup, they're done.
I think a 1-loss a 1-loss CUSA champ looks way worse than a 1-loss any other Group of 5 champ except for maybe the MAC.
Agreed.
But let's say Texas State. Let's say they have 1 loss in their conference. I mean, I think they would get in. I think a 1 loss in the Sun Belt looks better than 1 loss in conference.
Oh, I think a 1-loss team in every other conference looks way better than a 1-loss CUSA team. I think it comes down to, do you think a lot of these, the Sun Belt champ, the Mountain West champ, and the AAC champ can get like squeak by with just one loss.
So let me throw this out to you, okay? So right now I have Liberty at 11-1. I have Texas State at 11-1. Boise State 10-2. South Florida 10-2.
I think it's probably Texas State then.
You think it's Texas State that gets in?
I think it's Texas State.
I think it's you. I think it's South Florida. Honestly.
It could be South Florida with the schedule, because they only lose to the P4 teams in that schedule for you,
and those P4 teams are Alabama and Miami,
which a lot of people, I think preseason are both going to be top. I'm going to say it preseason top 15 for both of them.
But let's say they just get blown out like 48-10, 35-3, whatever in both games, just boat raced, and then like a Boise State loses 2 close games. You know what I mean? Like, if
it's a very interesting conversation.
Boat raced and it's not close, does that just take them out? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just,
I think it depends. A lot of it has to do with when in the season it happens. If they get boat raced at the beginning of the season, I don't think it's that big of a deal. If they get boat raced at the end of the season, then I think that it's a real big deal.
Yep. I'll agree
and
with
what
that.
happens if, like, let's say Boise, South Florida, Texas, whoever is undefeated, Liberty, whoever's undefeated, and their starting quarterback goes down mid-game. They lose that game, but he's able to come back the next and run it. Are you going to look at that game differently because they didn't have their starting quarterback? You know what I mean? Like,
I think you're right, Eric, when you said like the who's going to get in for the G5 is maybe the most interesting part of the playoff.
It's
potentially.
There's so many different scenarios. We can just kind of sit back here and just kind of play it out. I mean, USF is 20-1 to make the playoff. I think that's a great bet. I mean, just because if they run the table and they lose a close one to Miami and close one to Alabama, I won't even say close, I'll say respectable. I think we can make an argument for them to get in.
I like that. I don't hate it. The schedule breakdown for UTSA: Kennesaw State, at Texas, HCU, and at East Carolina.
I think they start off 1, 2, 3, 4-1. With the chance to go 5-0.
I got them 3-2 here as well. I will chase. To your point, I probably will be betting them during that Texas game. I got them 3-2 here. Off of the bye week, in between the two, it's at Rice, Florida Atlantic, at Tulsa, Memphis.
I'm going to go 3-1 in that stretch.
Also got them 3-1 here.
I got them 3-1 as well.
Off the second bye, it's North Texas at home, Temple at home, and at Army.
I got them 2-1.
I've got them 3-0. I think I've got them 10-2.
I also have them 3-0 here. I have them at 1, 2, 3. I got them at 9-3.
I got them at 8-4.
I'm taking the over 8 at -125. Eric, you already said your favorite bets. You're only messing around with South Florida in this conference.
I got the Bulls, dude. That's it.
In a stark contrast to Eric, here's my bets. I am taking Army over 6 at +105. These are my favorite bets. I'm betting every team, but these are my favorite ones. Army over 6 at +105. East Carolina under 6 +105. Florida Atlantic over 6.5 +100. Memphis over 9 +100. Navy over 5.5 +115. North Texas under 5.5 +115. Tulsa under 4.5 +100. South Florida to win the conference at +650. And a long shot bet, the Rice Owls to win the AAC at +1400.
Respect.
Respect. I don't love it, but I respect it. I've got Army under 5.5 +110. I've got Charlotte under 3.5 +110. I've got Navy over 5.5 +125. North Texas under 5.5 +110. South Florida over 7.5 +120. UTSA over 8.5 +110. And you know what? I'm going to stick with continuity. There's one thing I know for a fact, and that's Jeff Traylor is a excellent football coach at UTSA. I feel like that's going to go a long way, and I'm going to take them to win the conference at plus 400.
I don't hate that. So I feel like Frozo's asking, is UTSA overrated this year? I feel like Jeff Traylor's a guy that we give the benefit of the doubt to, right? At this point.
Well, if you look at all the other teams, like Tulane, we've got a brand new coach. We've got we're replacing a quarterback and we're replacing a coach. At least at UTSA, we're just replacing a quarterback, and we know that what else we're doing.
25 years.
Who's been there for like literally his son might be able to step up and play quarterback this season.
Yeah, I agree. So, what, Chase, I said I was going to break down the tiers of teams. Basically, for futures, you have Memphis, Tulane, UTSA at like around the similar marking. USF has jumped a little bit higher at plus 650. So, like Memphis plus 220, Tulane 350, UTSA 450, USF 650. Then it jumps to like Rice 14-1, ECU 18-1, North Texas 20-1. Army 22, and then it's like kind of and then Temple is like 350-1.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Let's go Temple.
Any other thoughts on the AAC, boys? We're done with the G5. We only have the P4 and Independence left.
Let's I'm excited for the P4. I'm going to miss the G5. I think that this might top to bottom might be the best of the G5 conferences that we've covered in terms of like overall talent. I think that you have such a heavy ceiling that it brings that floor up quite a bit.
I think I agree with you there. I'm just excited for the playoff race with the G5. Now that there's a guaranteed spot, I'm excited to argue with people about it. I'm also going into the P4. I will be unveiling the wheel. So which P4 conference are we doing first, boys?
Dude, we gotta do the Big 12.
Gotta do the Big 12.
Gotta do
It's
the
gonna be
Big 12.
exciting. And I will say this, I will be unveiling the wheel of which P4 team I will be rooting against the entire season, and if they win the national championship, I will be getting a tattoo. So
What's
the
the
wheel
tattoo?
We don't know yet. So Chase, what I'm going to do is if that team like whatever team it lands on, I'll say I'm getting a tattoo if they win a natty, and then I'll make a list of 4 potential tattoos, and I'll let the people on Twitter decide.
Okay. I like it. I don't really like it, but for you, I like it.
Well, it's going to be 4 tattoos that I'm okay getting on my body. So,
Okay.
Yep, this has been the G5. This has been the AAC. That's Erik. Follow him at eTop21 Sports everywhere. That's Chase. Follow him at Of Oaklawn everywhere. I'm me, XFL Jim. Follow me everywhere. Give the show a like. Give us a follow. It does help. We greatly appreciate it. We love you guys. And we'll see you next time on the College Football Tailgate for the P4. Bye-bye, everybody.